Welcome to PC Woods Kids Tech Talk. Today I've got a gaming system with the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 CPU. Now this is the third generation AMD Ryzen. There are several, of course. I've reviewed the 3400G previously, but this one here uses the latest technology. This is the Ryzen 5 3600, 7 nanometers architecture. This is 6 cores, 12 threads. Okay, keep that in mind. This is a mainstream processor. It's not the high-end Ryzen, it's not the low-end. So it's right in between. It's got a sweet spot there. I think you guys are going to like this one. It supports, obviously, the latest technologies. We're going to review that in just a second. Comes with the Wraith cooler, as you can see right there in the box. Uses the AM4 socket still. So if you've got an older motherboard, or maybe you want to use one of the newer ones, you can see right here, it'll still work. I'm going to be using the latest and greatest, the X570 motherboard, because I want to leverage the latest technology that this has to offer. 3.6 gigahertz out of the box with the boost up to 4.2 is great. Again, 6 cores, 12 threads, using the AM4 socket, 32 megs of level 3 cache. Wow, that is very generous. Now this is a low power CPU, 65 watts, using the 7 nanometer architecture that I mentioned. Obviously that's going to generate less heat. I'm looking forward to overclocking. You can see here the memory that it supports up to 3200 megahertz, but I actually overclocked it to 33, and it worked great. Using PCI Express version 4.0 is terrific, so that you can take advantage of the latest technology when you put in a graphics card in there, get the most bandwidth as possible. You can see here how it compares to the Intel Core i5 9600, and that's really what this is meant to compete against when it comes to dollars and cents, right? So if we're looking at that, that's what it's meant to compete against. And believe me, the benchmarks don't lie. You're going to see that in just a second, how well this performs. This is the system. Pause the screen at any time if I'm going too fast. You can pause it and then play. So going through the motherboard here, this is the ASRock X570 Steel Legend. Beautiful. You need a strong board. With the strong board, you get basically more support and performance. The Patriot Viper, beautiful memory. I'm going to make a separate review of that. You've got the AMD Radeon RX 5500 XT. I did a review of that already. And the Plextor NVMe SSD, I'll make a separate review of that. But all of this is in this machine already, being cooled by this Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 240 all-in-one liquid cooler, as you can see right there. So I have everything installed. It's all up and running with these components, and I got to tell you, components do matter. If you put older parts with newer stuff, you're not going to get the best bang for the buck. But when you put all of these great components together, it really does excel. Now, when it's idle, the CPU is about 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. It's doing nothing, then, temperatures are low. You put it on full load, which is what it's running right now on the screen. You can see there, maximum temperature, 72 degrees Celsius, on average about 60 to 65 degrees Celsius on full load. That's all 12 threads, 100%, all working all at once, okay? Now, I was able to overclock this. It took me a while to figure out the sweet spots on everything. I'll make a separate video on how I overclocked it, but just high level here quickly, you can see the BIOS screen with the settings that I used to overclock this to 4.2 gigahertz plus, okay, constant. So all 12 threads are running at 4.2 gigahertz when I overclocked it. But bringing it back to defaults, you can see here, the speeds are going to fluctuate. It goes from 3.6 gigahertz to 4.2, and the voltages as well. That's the default settings, okay, how it's meant to run on this awesome board, which allowed me to boost the memory higher than the XMP profile that I showed you there. And the CPU Z scores, you can see there for the single thread. This is how my machine, my build, compared to the Ryzen 7 3700X, so it basically matched it. And also on the multi-thread, you can see there how it compares. And again, here's a little chart that shows you how my system compared to other systems. So I am very impressed, and this is not overclocked yet. This is just default clocks, okay? Just slap it in there and away it goes. And the ADA 64 CPU Queen, again, is showing me my score is comparable to these Intel Core i7s and Ryzen 7 CPUs. So I'm very impressed here how this performs without me really doing anything. Again, it's got to do with the memory, the Patriot Viper Black Edition memory there, and it also has to do with the board, right? The ASRock X570 Steel Legend board. Everything working together along with the Plextor NVMe SSD, really boost the performance. And I'll make separate reviews on these components. The CPU mark is what I'm really concentrating on right now because we're reviewing the CPU, the processor, and you can see the score there at 3.6 gigahertz, how well it performs. PC Mark 10, again, just to give you a variety of synthetic benchmarks, a little bit of this, bit of that. You can see again how my score compared. It says that it's well more than capable to run 4K gaming. Well, that's true, but not with the graphics card that I installed in here necessarily. The CPU might be great for 4K gaming, but we really need a stronger graphics card if you can do 4K. This is great for 1080p as is right now, if with this Radeon RX 500 XT. Okay, but if you want to add in there a higher end graphics card, well, you're going to get terrific performance for sure. Okay, so this doesn't hold you back. It doesn't bottleneck. And you can see here also during the monitoring of these tests, temperatures of the CPU, you know, running pretty high when it's being utilized a lot. I mean, the temperatures are about 40 to 50 degrees Celsius, so that's pretty nice. And that's roughly what you're going to find when you're doing gaming. You know, temperatures are going to be hovering around that 50 degrees Celsius mark. But it can go all the way up to 95 is what it's supported anyways. Comparisons, you can see there that, you know, this machine with this graphics card actually works better than AMD RX 590 with the same CPU. Cinebench also shows us here single and multiple thread tests. You can see the score in orange there and how it compares to other systems. And again, very impressed there, this machine doing some rendering. And yeah, I mean, 6 cores, 12 threads, it's really using that. Now, when it comes to game performance, yeah, sure. Strange Brigade, running it at 1080p on ultra settings, you're going to get very smooth performance at 1080p. No issues with that. If you use this graphics card at 1440p, well, you're going to get different results, obviously. It depends on the game. I made a separate review of this graphics card specifically, so if you want to watch that, I'll add the link at the end of this video so you can watch that. But right now, this is really to show you how the CPU itself is able to handle gaming, right, with this graphics card. And I'm very impressed. I mean, to be honest, if you want to run everything over 100 frames per second with this system, 1080p will do it. Okay, you'll be able to do that. You'll just have to maybe lower it to high settings instead of ultra, for example, right? But definitely doable. And these variety of benchmark gaming tests that I did, that I enabled, are all using the high and ultra settings, and it still gives me extremely high scores. So I'm very happy to report that this machine is not holding things back. Now, one of the latest games that I'd like to play is Battlefield 5, okay? So if you really want to see a latest game and how the system performs with the latest and greatest multiplayer, well, here it is, running it, again, at 1080p on the high quality setting, okay? DirectX 12, you can see it's absolutely a beautiful thing to see, and performance is great. 90 frames per second, you can see there on multiplayer mode. So depending, obviously, on the mode that you play, you know, it'll fluctuate a little bit, the frames per second on average, but I mean, geez, you're not going to be able to tell too much. Great performance out of that. Still using the old AM4 socket, low power. Boost is there to 4.2 gigahertz, which is awesome. You can find this for under $200 US. I'll add the link below if you're interested in getting the latest pricing on that, so below in the description. Smooth gaming, again, like I said, and I'm going to overclock it, and I'll show you the video of that as well. So click here on any of these videos if you want to see the related hardware and any other videos that relate to this. And comment. Let me know what you think. I mean, AMD is coming really fast and furious here with the latest hardware that they have to offer that works great, whether it's a graphics card, a CPU, or both together. The Ryzen is really, you know, showing us what they are made of. So I'd like to thank AMD for providing it. Comment below, again, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.